Job chapter 38. And God said, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Who determined the measurements?" When they designed a space shuttle to get us to and from space, they also had to design a rocket booster. So they came up with two tall, skinny rockets to get us where we needed to go. And why is that? Well, that was because the factory making them in Utah and the launch pad in Florida were connected by a railroad. So the rockets had to fit on the railroad cars and through the Rocky Mountain tunnels carved just for railroads. So U.S. Standard Railroad Gauge then determined the design of our most advanced transportation system at the time. 4 foot 8.5 inches. That's the gauge, meaning the distance between the rails. That's an odd number. Why, you may ask, is it 4 foot 8.5 inches between the rails? Well, I'm glad you did. That's because the very first industrialized nation, England, well, that's what theirs was, 4 foot 8.5 inches, and they helped us to build our system. Wait, why did the English have 4 foot 8.5 inches between their rails? Well, I'm glad you asked. That's because when they originally built their first railroad cars, they used the tools they already had. Tools and jigs to make the wagons that went on the many roads throughout England. Many old roads. And that was the wheel spacing on all their wagons. But why was 4 foot 8.5 inches the spacing on their wagons, you may ask? And you would be very curious to do so. Okay, I'll tell you. It's because the roads were so old, centuries old, dating all the way back to ancient times, that the ruts had been carved for so long that if you did not have that exact measurement to fit inside the ruts, your wheels would break an axle. Well, why was it carved so long at that? Why was it that way to begin with, you may ask? And I would say you're very inquisitive, and sure, I'll tell you. It's because the Romans originally built the roads for their legions and their war chariots. And the war chariots had 2 horses pulling them. So therefore, in conclusion, in order to design and achieve the shuttling of humans to and from space, we had to use the most basic and original and ancient of measurement types. 2 horse rears. This is just a fun fact reminder that everything that we do can still and should still be measured against what he originally established a long time ago. For example, how many studies do we have to show that we're usually the healthiest mentally when we take a Sabbath? That those that we want to honor and put on pedestals the most are the ones that operate in the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, long-suffering, gentleness, faithfulness, kindness. How many relationships or communities do we think are the strongest and achieve the most? Because they have at their core a mutual respect based on an understanding of an equality that they have in the eyes of their Creator. The original biblical measurements. I pray that we know what we're going to use to measure ourselves by today and where it's found.